Tonight on CTV News at 5.
Those kind of incidents were never expected a few years before, but it has been rapidly increases.
Lockdown with theft on the rise. Businesses up their security measures.
He could do things that other people hadn't imagined a hockey player doing.
All about Howie Moran's a new book highlights the life and tragic death of hockey's first legend.
Well, when it happened, we didn't even think nothing of it.
And bravery in action. 4 Maritimers are recognized for their selfless courage.
More damp and foggy weather tonight, then temperatures fall Friday into the weekend.
Live from the Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Penopalis. Thanks for joining us. First at 5 tonight, stepped up security. An increasing number of retailers have been forced to lock down items as shoplifting ramps up in our region. From lipstick to lottery tickets, businesses have increased security measures to keep inventory from walking right out the door. CTV's Vanessa Wright met with a business owner who's paying the price in profits and peace of mind. Hi there, Vanessa.
Hi, Maria. It's a sad reality businesses are facing as robberies and thefts, often violent, have ended in loss of merchandise and a lack of public trust. It's forced some retailers to take matters into their own hands.
So as soon as he tried to grab the tree, all the lottery fell on my side.
Owner Karan Kumar Patel is still in shock after a scary incident last Saturday night at his Dartmouth convenience store. The surveillance video shows an individual spraying pepper spray in his face and striking him several times.
I was totally in shock because I wasn't expecting, I haven't expected in my wildest dream that anything like this would happen in this area, because this is very, very quiet area.
He says the suspect left with lottery tickets valuing about $20, but it was enough for Patel to beef up security.
So after the incident happened, immediately we locked these trays, so now they cannot open the trays.
Patel says he will be doing things differently moving forward, and he's not the only one. Big box stores have also taken protective measures. Retail analyst Bruce Winder says shoplifting continues to soar, partly because of current economic times.
You've got higher food prices, higher insurance, a number of key input costs for people have went up significantly in the last 5 years. So some people are desperate.
And with more retailers telling employees not to intervene.
It's almost a perfect storm for crime. The penalties appear to be low. The odds of getting caught are low. It's easy to move the merchandise for cash, and retailers have a bit of a hands-off approach because of liabilities.
In the last week alone, there have been a string of robberies in HRM, from gas stations to drugstores. Halifax police have their hands full with ongoing investigations.
Any incidents such as a robbery or where there's violence or use of a weapon, it's definitely concerning, and obviously concerning to the public and the staff that work at these stores.
Back at his store, Patel hopes thieves will think twice before they strike.
Got the baseball bat just for the safety.
Calling cases like these a blow to hardworking small businesses. These days, he won't even go out back or to the washroom without locking up, even for a minute.
Those kind of incidents were never expected a few years before, but it has been rapidly increases.
Now, Halifax police have arrested a man in connection to one of those incidents. Cape Breton Regional Police have issued 8 charges and recovered close to $2,000 in relation to a shoplifting blitz during December. Police want to remind businesses not to intervene when a robbery or theft occurs, especially a violent one. Maria?
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Vanessa. CTV's Vanessa Wright for us in the news center this evening. And that actually brings us to tonight's web poll. We are asking, how do you feel about retailers beefing up security measures to cut down on shoplifting? You've got 3 options. First, I like it. It makes me feel safe. Or I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And your final option, it can feel intrusive, but I understand it. Just go to ctvnewsatlantic.ca to weigh in and to see the latest poll results. All right, over to the anchor desk we go now. Todd Batt is standing by with a look at the headlines. Hi, Todd.
Hi, Maria. Thank you very much. Coming up at 6 o'clock, fewer hotel rooms are being used in Nova Scotia to house the homeless. That's according to the province, which says a program designed to move people into housing units has proved extremely successful. Coming up in your newscast, we'll tell you about the master lease program and the impact it's having. Tonight, the Cape Breton business that was targeted last week when someone threw a live grenade into the shop has released a surveillance footage video of the attack. And in it, you can see an individual approaching, first with a slingshot, then a hammer, before throwing something into the building. Ryan McDonald has an explainer tonight. Jansen Baker's double murder trial in Moncton had an unexpected interruption today. Testimony had to be stopped after there was a bomb scare at the Moncton Law Courts. The trial did resume about 90 minutes later. Derek Haggett was there. He will bring us the details at 6. Kayla Mitchell now against a board map of the Maritimes where there is only one community below zero right now, and that is amazing for this time of year.
Yeah, maybe just a couple of spots. Way up in the far north of New Brunswick, sitting right around the freezing mark. Other than that, you can see the temperatures in behind me looking very un-January-like. In a lot of cases, sitting several degrees above zero, and some double digits showing up in some areas, including parts of the Annapolis Valley in Nova Scotia, areas in around the North Shore of that province, and locations in Cape Breton, where it's 10 at Sydney right now and 13 at Shetty Camp. Well, the reason why it was so mild for today is we continued on with this south wind. It is now being sustained as we're moving into the first part of this evening, mostly between around 5 and 20 kilometers per hour. It's higher than that for a few areas, including coastal parts of the east of Nova Scotia and a couple spots around the Bay of Fundy coastline in New Brunswick. You see St. John with a sustained wind near 28 kilometers per hour. There's a few gusts around between 30 and 40. Taking a look at things on radar and satellite, you can see that we've got a lot of cloud cover still in place around the Maritime region and still some wet weather to move through. It's going to be rain, drizzle, and fog for tonight. A little bit of snow still coming down in the northwest New Brunswick. A second round of rain still on its way in during the overnight hours for both Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. And we still have a snowfall warning in effect for parts of the northwest New Brunswick. Maybe some localized totals between 10 and 15 centimeters. And a special weather statement has now just ended around the east of Nova Scotia, though for that province overall with this weather system there may be some totals rain, that is, to get up to around 30 millimeters or a little bit more. I'll have more in the forecast later on. Maria.
Thank you very much, Kaylin. We will see you a little later on. Right now, time for our first break here on CTV News at 5. A little later in the show, we'll introduce you to 4 Maritimers who earned Nova Scotia's Medal of Bravery. Their stories coming up. We also have these stories.
I'm Stephanie Seacoast in Dartmouth. Coming up on CTV News at 5, small animals with big hearts. Why a little critter like the one hiding in here might be the perfect fit for your family. That's still ahead on CTV News at 5.
Hi, my name's Don Murray. I've written a book about one of the greatest players ever to play in the NHL, Howie Morenz. We're going to talk about it in a moment.
Enjoy an unforgettable evening at the 2026 Inspired Gala and Auction February 18th in Halifax. Celebrate Special Olympic athletes, coaches, and volunteers, featuring special guest Loretta Claiborne. For tickets, visit specialolympicsns.ca.
Welcome back. Howie Morenz was one of hockey's first star players and now is the subject of a new book. CTV's Mike Lamb has more on the legendary Hall of Famer.
Howie Morenz, when I was growing up in Montreal, was always kind of a mythic figure, and people would talk about him, but there was never any biography you could read. There were very few clips that you could access at that period of time. I had the idea that I should try to dig down and find the real stories behind what I'm being told about Howie Morenz. It took a number of years. Eventually I said, I got to go back and look at the newspapers from the 1930s and 1920s when he was coming up and when he was having an impact on the audiences who still remember him.
On the ice at Madison Square Garden, New York meets Montreal in the world's fastest game.
All NHL players are skilled, and back then that was true. There were very few who are unique, and he was unique in the fact that he could do things that other people hadn't imagined a hockey player doing. He changed the game because other players, skilled players, had to find ways to react to him and react to the way he played. There's not many players over the course of the National Hockey League's history who have done that. And he was perhaps among the first 3 or 4 giants of the game.
As the teams swing from end to end like a pendulum.
There was no trophy at the time for having the most points in a season. There was no Conn Smythe trophy for the best performer during the playoffs. He would have won in different seasons each of those awards, and in fact, the Hart Trophy, which is the most valuable player award, he was the first and remains the only Montreal Canadian to have won that trophy 3 times. A lot of people focus on the death because it was tragic. It followed about 6 weeks after an on-ice shattering of one of his legs. He was taken to the hospital. He knew that he couldn't come back, and he went into a deep depression. He was just arising from that when he had a heart attack and died overnight at the hospital. It was the biggest funeral in Canadian history to that time, and they filled the Forum. The whole nation was traumatized because this was still a very young hockey player, and the game had claimed him. The game had resulted in his death. There's a lot of stories about where our game came from and where it is today, and I can't endorse enough people getting excited about the history that we've had, studying it, reading about it, and understanding the game today better because of where it's come from.
Wow, what a fascinating story just in 2 minutes. There's so much more to know.
He's a hockey player I didn't know that much about.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting story.
Absolutely. By the way, Dawn will be having a book launch and talk this Saturday at 2:30 at the Halifax Public Library. He'll be joined by hockey fan and CTV legend Rick Grant. So if you're looking for some hockey talk, that's the place to be this weekend.
And it's going to be a little bit colder on Saturday than it was today in the Maritimes, which of course featured very mild temperatures across the region, lots of drizzle, fog. We're looking out here at the Sydney Harbor. More rain on the way into Cape Breton tonight, and I'll have more on the forecast next.
We have an update to share about a fundraiser we told you about in October during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Halifax fashion designer John Michael Brewer ended up raising more than $2,000 through the sales of hats and T-shirts. He was able to buy 12 wigs for the Sunshine Room at the QE2 to help others battling breast cancer. The fundraiser was in memory of his friend who passed away nearly 20 years ago. Way to go, John. Making an impact for sure. Kaylin Mitchell joins us now in the Weather Center with a look at how things are shaping up out there. Kaylin, my goodness, when you look, you know, in central Canada and like Toronto and Ottawa, where they're having heavy snow today, it's quite a contrast with the Maritimes.
Yeah, so the snowy side of the storm system ended up being through southern Ontario and then up through the St. Lawrence River Valley and through Quebec. And then here on the Maritimes, on the eastern side of it, we were mild, we were damp, and we were foggy. And we have more conditions like that for much of the region as we move through tonight. Taking a look at our sunrise and sunset times, we're going to Miller's Lake in the Fall River area of Nova Scotia. Today's rain, of course, will be feeding into the lake and keeping those waters flowing. As we take a look at our weather systems map, barometric pressure is now lower compared to yesterday at the approach of this low pressure system. Remember, this originated as an Alberta clipper and then became that snowstorm in Ontario and Quebec and developed a second center of low pressure on the southern part of it. And now that is making its way across the Maritime region for tonight. So taking a look at things on radar, we still have a couple of areas of rain holding on now that we're moving into the first part of this evening. There is some steady rain that is just now exiting to the northeast to Cape Breton, and a little bit of rain in the north of New Brunswick, transitioning over to snow up in the northwestern corner of that province. Other areas of the Maritimes, as we make our way through this evening, will be cloudy with patchy showers, drizzle, and fog. But then there's another round of wet weather to move back into the region during the overnight hours. And this is mostly going to be for Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, beginning around the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia by around midnight. And then it continues to develop across that province into Prince Edward Island as we head into early Friday morning. Now, that round of rain is going to be clearing to the northeast of the Maritimes as we move into Friday afternoon, but in behind it will be a mixture of showers and flurries along with a cold and gusty northwest wind. Temperatures coming down throughout the day tomorrow across the entirety of the Maritime region. Now, there will be some additional rainfall amounts still to come, of course, and it looks like it'll be in the range of around 2 to 10 millimeters for a large portion of Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, maybe locally as high as 10 to 20 millimeters into the east of Nova Scotia, and that could push some of the overall rainfall totals for parts of that province at least to in excess of 30 millimeters. Winds in the forecast for tomorrow. I mentioned a change in the wind direction, becoming west and northwest. And take a look at the wind gusts. Quite blustery for tomorrow. Some of those peak wind gusts coming up between 40 and 70 kilometers per hour. There might even be some on exposed areas of the coastline of the southwest of Nova Scotia as high as 80 kilometers per hour. And that west and northwest wind is returning colder air off the continent. Now, temperatures for tonight mostly stay above zero for Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and southern New Brunswick, but falling below zero for northern areas of New Brunswick. And then for tomorrow, the warmest temperatures will be right at the start of the day, with temperatures then falling towards and below freezing across the Maritimes as we move through Friday afternoon and into Friday evening. So be careful about any icy, wet surfaces turning icy. A quick look at the forecast for Saturday shows a low pressure system and a couple of weather fronts making their way through the northeastern United States. That's going to increase cloud cover around the Maritimes and actually produce some light snow, especially as we make our way through the afternoon and into the evening and nighttime hours. There's a potential for some snowfall accumulation out of that on Saturday, maybe with some local amounts in the range of around 1 to 5 centimeters. All right, let's take a look at our weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is coming in from 6-year-old Riley Gallery. And Riley has sent in this drawing of, looks like here, a bluebird on a nice day. If you would like to send in a weather watcher, they can come in to CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia. And with that, Maria, I will throw over to you.
Thank you very much, Kaylin. So if you are thinking about adopting an animal, why not consider something small, maybe even pocket-sized? As CTV's Stephanie Seacos reports, hundreds of small animals end up in shelters each year, and they need homes just as dogs and cats do.
The Nova Scotia SPCA is full of animals, including dozens of smaller critters looking for their forever homes.
Those can range from our smaller, what we call pocket pets because of their size, pets like guinea pigs or hamsters or rats as well, to birds.
While it's not as common for the SPCA to receive those types of animals,
Here you go.
Many end up in the shelter each year.
We get about 350 critters in our shelters. Compare that, we get over 1,000 dogs a year and over 3,000 cats a year.
The most common critters are rabbits and bunnies.
They may be stray. They do breed quite rapidly and have larger litters, so it can quickly get overwhelming for someone. Also, the commitment of owning a rabbit is something that you have to be prepared for. Hey, buddy.
Brianna Fay, the manager at the Dartmouth shelter, says the most important thing to know when getting a small animal is socialization.
They can't be left for long periods, you know, without having human interaction. And sometimes it is beneficial to have a friend. Like guinea pigs, they really do thrive with having a friend with them at all times. Rabbits can kind of be a hit or miss.
Faye has had small pets of her own and says they make a great addition to the family.
They have so much to give. Like, you know, they have a shorter lifespan than a cat or a dog. But really, like, you know, guinea pigs and rabbits can be really cuddly.
Whether you're looking for a pocket pet or something bigger, the SPCA recommends turning to adoption. Stephanie Seacos, CTV News, Dartmouth.
Thank you, Stephanie. Time for our final break here on CTV News at 5. But first, a preview of our final story of the evening.
I'm Hafsa Arif in Halifax. 4 Nova Scotians were honored with the Medal of Bravery. Why they were recognized, coming up next.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Finally, tomorrow is the big day, Passport to Paradise. We're kicking it off at 6 a.m.
Join us then to win one of 30 trips for 2 to Beaches, Turks and Caicos.
Welcome back. 4 Nova Scotians were honored today with the province's highest recognition for bravery. As CTV's Hafsa Arif reports, these everyday heroes ran toward the danger, not away from it.
It's a celebration of courage, forged in fire, snow, and split-second decisions. The first, a man driven by instinct and love for his neighbor. Last year, Jared Hunt heard screams and saw smoke coming from right next door. He didn't wait, he ran inside.
This whole process, I've just been kind of overwhelmed with gratitude. I can't help but realize that been so blessed to have so many people in my path along my journey.
Hunt described the scene to CTV then. Inside, a father, Jermaine, and 3 children were trapped. He crawled through the flames and saved the man. But even now, much of what happened still follows him.
For a while, I couldn't close my eyes without seeing and hearing the sounds from that night.
Last winter, miles away, another life-saving mission began on a snow-covered trail. 3 friends learned 2 snowmobilers had vanished in a storm in the Cape Breton Highlands, and search crews weren't coming until daylight.
Well, when it happened, we didn't even think nothing of it. We were just going up to find somebody. Didn't think anything big out of it.
Through freezing wind and whiteout conditions, they rode toward the highlands, following memory, instinct, and hope. They found one friend alive, and the next day guided rescuers back to find the second.
Didn't occur to us that we saved 2 lives that night by speeding up the recovery by 12, 13 plus hours, or if not more.
For all 4 men, the medals feel secondary.
We just knew we had to go, so our time came, we went, and we were lucky with all the decisions that we made that night paid off.
My wife kept telling me that I had to tell Jermaine before he heard it from someone else. He hugged me and told me I deserved it. So, yeah. You know what I mean? Gave me his blessing.
They weren't chasing recognition, but each of the men hoped their stories spark more preparedness, more safety, and maybe more courage if the moment ever comes. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Halifax.
Oh, congratulations, gentlemen, and well-deserved. Yes, you certainly deserve it.
Yeah, they do. They may not have been chasing that recognition.
Yeah.
They deserve every bit they get. Heroes, all of them.
They're the guys you want answering the call when you are in trouble, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Kayla Mitchell, you've been keeping a pretty close eye on the weather here.
Yeah, so we still have some soggy and foggy conditions coming up tonight across a good portion of the Maritimes. We are starting to get onto the back half of this weather system, though, coming up on Friday, and that's going to bring about its own changes, including the return of a cold wind. We're going to get a little reminder that we're not out of January yet. Temperatures will be falling through the day on Friday into the start of the weekend, so we'll have to be careful about some icy spots. And I'll talk more about that coming up in CTV News at 6.
We'll see you, Todd and Katie, at 6 o'clock. I'll see you tomorrow. The national news is next. Thanks for watching. Good night.